I realized that I missed a lot of information. Welcome back to the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network. This is just for my own self-documentation to keep my mind organized because I have a constant conspiracy of disruption, and I just want to continue to update the police brutality and the cyber stalking by the police, as well as the targeting of unemployment by people that I'm obviously affiliated with, such as Varsity Tutors. And, I missed a lot of information going back this recent month. And I always write myself on a whiteboard. And every day I'm always stalked by vehicles, like they're always driving on my Accord and everything. But I did have one day that was like up there in the upper limits of road rage and stalking. Even though I'm stalked every day, I just had it to such a degree that I couldn't even go and recreate and ride my bike to the local park. And so I want to go back, and I'm going to show you guys, number one, a quick picture of the trash guys dumping all the trash and leaving it in the front of my residence on the ground, which they owned up to and which I have a case number for. Number two, you're going to see Justin's vehicle, which is a white SUV, and they use semantics because I plan on getting a Dodge Durango in all white. So they use a lot of semantics in that regard. So he's got his white SUV up there. This was also the week, which was October, the week of like October, I think 23rd, which I don't know what day that falls on. Let me look at my calendar. But if I recall, it is the week of the 23rd, yeah, Monday, or the 22nd. That whole week was just crazy and chaotic. So I had everything from significant road rage, and let's start there. So I was basically going to my mountain bike park, and I was leaving, and I have a video of me leaving, so I could upload that, but it's kind of pointless because I found out that they removed, which is the common theme here, is they're always removing the most pertinent evidence all of the time. So I went into my R2 4K GPS Wi-Fi dash cam and found out that they erased all of that week, including my drive to the North Precinct, Birmingham, where I was confronting the police officers about their narrative. And I found out that any device basically with a Wi-Fi, they're hacking into and cracking into. And so just like my cell phone, which I've had dozens of occasions where they go through and erase text messages, or they'll erase inculpatory evidence, which is basically evidence that could be used against them in a court of law. And they go through my memo app, my memo pad, and erase, which when I worked at TMC, I had like 3+ pages. And so I have to bring that to a federal court to explain myself basically. And this has been going on for like a decade now. Even when I was in physician assistant school in Toledo, they were going through my text messages and all of my things. Any device with a Wi-Fi, they were in basically. And it's the same thing with my R2 4K. I found out that all of the footage that I had documented with the red vehicles stalking me and coming behind me, and then whenever I pull off the road and then get back on the road, they'll have another red vehicle come behind me. I get off the road, let him pass, and then I'll have another red vehicle. And then when I got there, which I have the latter, only the very end of that footage, do I have the red vehicle who's waiting for me parked in the exact place that I always park. And that's all I have. And because I don't have those vehicles stalking me on the way there, now basically I could only show them evidence that they're going through and removing through all of my devices of Wi-Fi the inculpatory evidence. And I don't have any footage now of that particular day, which is October 27th at approximately 16:20, when I was being stalked by a convoy of red vehicles from behind. And so the next deal is, this is the same week I told Justin that he's going to leave because they're using a mental kind of campaign, if you will, to habitually keep a story or a storyline in my head all the time from my past. And I told you about that last video. Also, you're going to see that the police are not only working against me to keep evidence away, but you're going to see in this video where I called the police about the dog again, who's incessantly barking. And this neighbor's dog who's brought trash in my yard dozens of times. I've had to pick up dead animals from him, clean up holes from him, and he's tramping through my garden, so I can't make a garden, and he's constantly trampling through it. And then I told the police, at least I think I have one courtesy call, which technically shouldn't have been a courtesy call, and then I have 2 on the record paper calls. On this particular day, you're going to see me call again, which is almost like 3 to 4 weeks after the fact. I've already talked about this dog barking and the trash and whatnot. That was the first complaint, was the trash and the destruction. But I realized that they're always basically leaving the dog out when I'm sitting right here. And so they're calculating when I'm home. And then this family, when I'm working on things or I'm trying to get to sleep, they'll calculate my sleepiest days. They'll calculate that. They'll calculate when I'm home, and then they'll leave this dog out. This morning was the same thing. I woke up and tried to sleep an additional hour, but the dog was incessantly barking. There's Birmingham ordinance, noise law. You know, you're not supposed to be having any noise on your private property that exceeds 50 feet past your private line. Nothing past 70 decibels. Nothing whatsoever in the curfew time of, I think it's like 10 to 7, 10 at night to 7 in the morning, and it could be even sooner. But basically all these ordinances, and then the police are trying to get me. I'm going to upload the conversation with Robertson. He's trying to get me to hit their pockets, quote unquote. And so you'll hear him in that dialogue trying to get me to sue and everything, when the problem is with the police. And so you'll hear on this particular video, you're going to hear me calling the same officer who's been to this residence at least 3 times, to my knowledge, on record. And I probably have it at least twice right here on the Boblov. And I know that they can't get to the Boblov, by the way, because it doesn't have a Wi-Fi. And all of my Boblov evidence, which is a personal body cam, is all in chronology. And there's not one date, there's not one time missing. But when it comes to things like your cell phones, your R2 4K, anything with a Wi-Fi, they are remotely hacking it and then pulling out all the pertinent data that I could bring to court. So I have quote-unquote no evidence. But there's still evidence, because all other days are in sync and in chronology. But then you have the whole day except the beginning and the end not in chronology. And it's no longer on any of my devices. So anyways, long story short, you're going to see this phone call that I made to the same officer who's been here at least 3 times, to my knowledge, on one other occasion. And then, and the problem is that there's always a frequency of disruption, and that's how the program works. It's not just the workplace, it's your personal life, and that's how it works ultimately, is to attack you personally. So you have all these neighbors working together, basically, from the guy across the road to the people behind me, always creating disturbance and always creating mishaps. This is a month, so we're talking, this is December 3rd, Sunday. So yeah, this incident happened a few days ago on, actually longer than that, November 26th is when I called them. And you're going to hear them say that, okay, well, we'll have a sergeant call you. Sergeant never called me. Okay, sergeant never called me. And so they want me to go to court and burn up all this time, all this money, all of these resources, right? And this huge headache of time just to hit mediation, which is where 50%, you'll hear me say, of court cases lead to. And I'm telling them that the dog, basically at this day and age, because this barking has been going on, which I let slide for months. We're talking since July or June. Okay, maybe even earlier than that. I've let it slide. But it's to a point where he incessantly barks on hours on end. And there's even an ordinance for that in Birmingham where it says that the dog bark exceeds a bark of 10 minutes, which I have now on video, which I recorded, where the dog's barking for like an hour and a half straight. There's two problems with that. So it's like 4 ordinance violations right here. And then on top of that, it's like animal miscaring because you're stressing this dog out for hours on end. Okay, especially I notice it happens on the weekends. Okay, because they'll leave the dog out there and then he'll just bark incessantly for hours. So my relief would be if you don't take care of training within 2 months, 60 days, then the city or the animal shelter needs to take the dog away from you until he sees or they see that you're capable of handling the dog. Come check in at 30 days or something. But I'm not going to sit here and get crazy about it because it's just been eating my life away, just like the campaign. So anyways, I'm going to put up 2 videos. One is a still shot of the trash guys leaving it. And then they try to get a conversation rolling with me about how the vehicle or something was in the way or something like that. And how I'm supposed to go down and bring it to them and all this other bullshit. And dude, if I have trash to put out there, I'll put it out there is what I told him basically. I don't know what the deal is, but long story short, it's all a semantics because that particular week of the 23rd of October, this snapshot was taken. I have video as well of the whole thing, talking to the trash guys and everything. I've got all my Bob Love information. And they're trying to make a scene and disrupt and disturb. The week I told Justin that he's got to go, and I gave him a 60-day notice. And then you have all of this semantics out there, like Justin's SUV, which I planned on getting a Durango. And instead I'm sitting here fighting this court and the people in the community and people that I work with. And now I'm dealing with this dog and all this other stuff. And basically is to consume you at all aspects of your life. You're consumed on every aspect. And it's just eating up your life. And you can't really make plans now to like work a good job persistently because now you have to hit all of these legal waypoints and dates and all this other stuff. So it's this huge like incapacitating program. Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows that they're doing it. And so the other deal is on November 30th, I had a plan to submit some information or at least have a lot of it done. And I remember saying like, hey, I'm going to have this done. I'm going to have this particular thing taken care of. And at the end of the night, I had a female on PS message me by the name of submitted. And this is what they do, is they use semantics. And they keep tabs on all of the things that you're doing in real time. And right here at 11:30, almost on, let's see, what is this? November 30th. This was literally like probably 11:30 at night, because you could see I responded 12:01 kind of immediately after. So it was literally close to midnight, and you can see her name submitted, and it's 35 too. Okay. So again, always using semantics. Okay, they're always attacking you and listening to any type of plans that you have, and then they're there to intercept and thwart and disturb and sabotage. Okay, at all cost. All right. So that's what's going on this week. I found out, unfortunately, that I don't have, which I'm pretty disgruntled about, but it's true. I don't. I looked at every memory device, and I also went through and searched through my R24K, and I have no evidence now of this vehicle stalking barrage that occurred on the way to a bike park. I mean, I have the typical stuff that you see every time I pull out. I mean, that's always there, but this was like these red vehicles deliberately driving behind me and deliberately stalking me to and from the park, which all vehicles do, but it's just in the capacity in which they're positioned to obviously state something. And it's always something that if it's grossly present, you'll better believe that whoever's behind removing the evidence, which is likely the police, because I've been told that Pegasus is being used to go through my software and all my stuff. I've been told that. So maybe it's Pegasus, maybe it's not. But all the, what they say, quote unquote, intelligence fingerprints are all here. So this is this week.
North Precinct Officer Boyd speaking.
Hey, North Precinct Officer Boyd. I'm trying to just close out a couple options regarding noise and sound disturbance with my neighbor. And I wanted to ask you a question for clarification before I choose the alternative to go, I guess, on my own way to like civil court. Because I don't think we addressed this, but I looked at the ordinances and I don't know if they apply, but I'm looking at section 11-8-8 through -12. And this dog of theirs is just barking since 10 o'clock last night through the midnight, through all last night, all the way to this morning. And all the noise ordinances specifically address any noises going into public spaces beyond 50 feet, regarding music in this particular law. But I mean, the dog's bark is going beyond the decibel threshold that's in the city ordinances, and the noise is exceeding the city ordinances. So I don't understand why that you guys can't do anything. It's crazy. I mean, I can't sleep because this dog is literally hours on end incessantly barking, and the animal control says they don't do anything about it. But this is also hitting on numerous sections in the Code of Ordinances of Birmingham in this section 11-8 through 11-12. I don't understand why it is that this can't be addressed, because mediation is going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to run into, and I'm going to be saying that I've been doing mediation with the police, I've been doing mediation with the neighbors.
Have you attempted to talk to the owner of the dog?
We have. We've attempted, I believe you guys have on record maybe 2 or 3 of the concerns that I had with trash and damage, but it seems like there's nothing that they've been doing to positively change that or resolve that. They're a Hispanic speaking family.
So what's your question today?
The question is if the city ordinance specific, I'm talking specifically about the section 11-8 through -12. It's talking about the noise and the decibels exceeding, I believe, 70. And it's also talking about how we have a noise ordinance that is supposed to be pretty much non-existent between the times of 10 and 7 in the morning. And then it also talks about music and noises, even on private property, that exceeds 50 feet past your residence or private line, which that checks all of those violations. Why is it that we can't address this problem with the dog? It's not like it's an occasional dog barking. I wouldn't be calling if that was the case. This is incessant barking beyond 100 decibels, beyond 50 feet. We're talking hundreds of feet. And this dog is doing it in the middle of the night, all night. This is a different story. This is not just occasional dog barking. So I'm not understanding. And when it comes to mediation, I'm going to be doing all this paperwork by myself, pro se, and then they're going to ask for mediation, which is typically where more than 50% of cases are resolved. And I'm going to be saying, well, I talked to the Birmingham Police Department. We've been doing this back and forth 3 or 4 times. I got paperwork, I got records, I got case numbers. And then they're going to say, well, how come they haven't changed? So, I mean, what's it going to take, basically, I'm asking, in order to get this resolved? Because it says if it impacts your health, it says it right here in the ordinance, and I'm losing sleep trying to get sleep, that's a problem. And I've been living here for over 4, 5, 6, 7 months now, and I've let this slide, thinking that it was just going to be, a training issue with the dog. I'm being lenient. I've even picked up trash from the dog, and then I called the police because it happened 3, 4, 5 times, in which I'm done taking responsibility and being nice. And so this needs to stop. It needs to come to a limitation and a boundary.
Okay. I can get you information when I get a supervisor to come back in. I can let one of them give you a call, and maybe they can answer your question.
All right.
What's your name?
Michael.
All right. When my sergeant come back in, I'll give you this information. She'll give you a call, see what y'all can come up with.
Thank you.